All right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here, bringing your daily horoscope for Sunday, fun day, the 16th of August, 2020. We've got a lot of major alignments going on today. We have the moon moving through the later degrees of Cancer. Okay, so we're opposing Jupiter, we're opposing Pluto, we're opposing Saturn. All right, we also have the moon creating a square over there to Mars. So Mars is also creating a square to Pluto, square to Jupiter, and close enough to be a square to Saturn, only a couple degrees away. All right, and we also have, okay, at 24 degrees, the moon creating a trine to Mars, and Mercury at 23 degrees moving to 24 degrees of Leo as well to join the sun. Okay, so we have the sun, Mars conjunction. We have Sun, Mercury conjunction on over here in Leo. All right, where for you here in Leo. In Aries, we have Mars, Eris conjunction. Okay, and then the moon in Cancer, opposition to Pluto in Capricorn, both square to Mars. Okay, so T square to Mars and to Eris. So let me show you what this is. Okay, so here's Mars, here's Eris, 24 degrees. Here's the moon. This is set to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So of course, adjust your time accordingly. Sun here at 24 degrees, and Mercury is going to move throughout, a little later on in the day. It's going to hit that 24 degrees. Either way, okay, we are at the pinnacle of our grand fire trine. All right. We are at the pinnacle of this T-square happening here, because this is about as sandwiched as Mars is going to get between these energies. All right, because everything is going to shift during these retrogrades. All right. How do we want to look at this? Okay. Mars, Mars gets the rap for what? For being action and aggression. The gas, the foot on the gas, the acceleration, okay? The hand reaches. Venus desires something. Mercury says yes to it. The heart says yes. Emotional moon says yes. Ego says yes to something, the sun. And then Mars is our planet of action to grab and to receive or to run after, to whatever, to accelerate, to move, put into motion. All right. Mars, home in Aries. Least amount of friction. Okay, it's a natural place for it to be. It's the beginning, the initiation of something. Now, although this is going to be a Sunday fun day horoscope, I'm going to be honest with you, this is kind of throughout the week. This is some energy that we're feeling and dealing with right now as a whole. And it just happens to be, this is the crux of when this energy is happening. And then as the moon moves throughout the week and the planets continue to move, things will adjust, right? But this is kind of the meat here of the week ahead of us. So Mars is also the god of farming and pioneering, okay, which is extremely important. All right. Now, Mars is also the infant, the baby of the zodiac. And what does the infant baby do? As soon as it becomes alive into this world and its umbilical cord is snipped, it becomes independent. All right. So Mars in Aries, this is about independence, okay, our personal sovereigns, being independent, being self-sufficient, self-sustaining, okay? And we're conjunct Eris, which is how we deal with choices, how we create decisions based on the information that we're given. Now, we're given information right now by the authorities, by the government, of how our world is changing, how we're governing our day-to-day lives is changing dramatically, all right? And we have this T-square here, the moon, and Mars caught in the middle, moon opposition to Pluto, okay? So as soon as the child is born, there's this verge of independence, okay, seeking its independence. At the same time, the independent child, Mars here, this is our Mars and Eris relation. The independent child understands its codependent nature with the authority being the parent. This is how I get my food. This is how I get my shelter. And is as independent as the child wants to be to run and play and to do all these things, it must answer to the authority, okay? Until one day, the child is old enough and grown to go out on its own, to fend for itself, okay? So for a long time, we have been reliant, comfortable, in a sense, to a degree, with the authority, with Mama Bear, Papa Bear comfortably helping us out, the jobs that were created. I mean, we just look at history and then how jobs have changed every 100 years, and what, 200 years ago in 1800s, houses were just one big room because we didn't need all these separate rooms because we were out in the fields working, or just out working in general of whatever we were doing. It wasn't until 1924 is when Sears really started making these split bedrooms, and the master bedroom was first, a thing. Master bedroom, 1924. Anyway, I like to look up a lot of really random stuff. So, how we live is changing. How we're governing ourselves is changing. Okay, how we're getting back to this on track here. How we're governing ourselves is changing, and us creating work for ourselves independently versus being used to this job that we're going to, this 9 to 5 or this thing. We're being asked to step up. We're being asked to change and transform, okay, because 10th house, career, public image, Pluto, Capricorn, Saturn, Jupiter, this is all up there saying more and expansion. And it's expanding us, and it's just like sometimes we don't grow unless we're being forced to. Sometimes, I say this all the time, it's something I love. Sometimes the heroes don't know when to step up until the villains have been created, right? So we don't know that we have that heroic capabilities or powers, like David didn't know he was capable of taking down Goliath until Goliath existed. Because Goliath exists, now, David can make a choice, can make a decision. This is Mars and Eris, okay? How are we choosing to go about this? How are we choosing to go about life right now? And this trine over here to the sun says, look, you have everything. You have everything possible. All the skills, all the talent, all the ability, and it's consistency. And that's the thing here about this trine to Mars with Mercury and the sun is about consistency. Leo is consistent, where Mars, Aries is the spark of the match. It's going to spark to get something going, but it's not going to keep the fire sustained, okay? This takes the work, dedication. All right, so the Mercury-Sun conjunction in Leo happening at the exact same time, of this Mars-Eris conjunction and square to Pluto, this is asking us to step up and saying we have what it takes to step up. We have what it takes to make those courageous decisions in our lives to do whatever is absolutely necessary. And to look at ourselves and find out ways to be more self-sustaining and self-sufficient and saying, I don't absolutely need to go back to this job or this thing. Everybody's situation is different, but this is definitely a way to be looking at this energy right now that's very much self-sufficient and severing that umbilical cord of the big government. How can we, in a sense, live off of the grid or create something of our own? And when Saturn does enter back into Aquarius in December, it will help, really push those ideas and those concepts forward. We're going to be really thinking out of the box. But right now, it's, we still have to govern ourselves during this time. And we have this emotional split, saying, am I going to sit here and am I going to, it's like someone's shot, and are we going to say, oh my God, somebody's shot? Or are we going to pick up the phone and call 911? Are we going to assess, are we taking action to what is in front of us right now, this presence, being here right now, and not just being caught up in our emotions, saying, what do we do about this? But taking action is very, very important. And again, all of this Sun-Mercury conjunction is the mind saying yes, intuition saying yes, the body saying yes, ego saying yes, self saying yes to whatever it is, and Mars saying, okay, I need to act. I'm caught with a choice. I'm caught in decisions. How do I want to go about it? How do I want to respond? Do I want to point my finger and blame, which we can, and we have every right to do? But is that going to ultimately help us? Is it ultimately going to get us anywhere? Is it ultimately going to, create leaps moving forward? Blaming government or blaming the system or blaming our mayors or blaming our politicians or blaming, this. Ultimately, much of this comes down to our personal happiness. And especially with the Sun and Mercury conjunct in Leo, this is, look, we want to be happy. That's why we're alive here on this planet. We want to be joyous beings. I read this thing earlier, the giant panda and the tiny dragon. All right, so we're gonna end this on the tiny dragon and the giant panda. And the giant panda says to the tiny dragon, is it about the destination or the journey? And the tiny dragon says, it's about the company. Right? How fun is that? So it's about the company. It's about having fun and playing and making those connections. And as much as we can right now, getting outside and making those connections in whichever safe way is possible for us during these times. But to have fun, to be playful and joyous and living ourselves, abundantly. Even with Jupiter and Capricorn, with sense of scarcity. There's very rich people that have yachts that are miserable, and there's people that live on $2 a day, 200 calories a day, that are joyous and have a full heart, So we have this opportunity, right? We can be full with less. All right, that's enough for me today. There's a lot going on. Self-sufficiency, all right? Being our own farmer, being our own pioneer. Taking the time for self. All right. It's a long one. Happy Sunday, fun day, friends. Start of a great week. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.